Like so many others, I need to get my story out. Thanks to anyone who takes the time. 2 years ago I started my coming out journey, which I have riddled with some of my most regrettable life mistakes. I came out to my husband and then insisted we open the marriage. Like many straight men, the appeal of two women being into each other was very attractive to him. I wanted to come out of my shell and insecurities and learn to be comfortable with that. I instead got into a toxic relationship with a lesbian woman, questioned my whole sexuality, and became very unkind towards my husband. We just didn't show up to the relationship at the same time in the same way anymore. I did all the things you don't do when embarking on non-monogamy. Eventually I pushed his boundaries and he left. He said work on myself and we would see. During this time I feel like I was so depressed and traumatized that I was kind of mental. I tried to move on. He and I would see each other periodically. Everything felt in limbo. I pretended to be moving on while not being able to truly let go of him in my heart. I met an amazing girl during this time. We met on Tinder. I still had one from when I met the first girl and had been looking to meet more people like me, queer confused people. She is bi like I am. She was seeing other people, poly/single girl. We started spending a lot of free time together as friends, with a lot of back massages. Then we hooked up. I didn't plan it, it just happened. We kept hanging out, didn't really turn into anything at that point. She gave me her extra Burning Man ticket though. Then afterwards she left to travel for nearly 6 months. We didn't have plans to get together when she got back. We were going to be in different towns. We kept in touch nearly every day through social media and calls though. This girl professed her love for me beginning a year ago. And hasn't relented since. I never really pursued her because she was always seeing other people and I don't want quite that open of a relationship. At this point neither does she. As life went, I tried to reconcile with my husband but after a few months, was still pining for this girl. She, my husband, and I tried a triad relationship this summer. It went so horribly wrong. She was jealous of he and I though fine with us each separate. I had a difficult time too. The monstrous size of my insecurities shined during this time and I literally lost my sanity. My husband left. He gave me the option to go with him. I chose not to. But it took me months to come to terms with this and be open with them about what I've chosen. I recently confirmed to my husband that I will be staying with the girl because the hurt between he and I feels insurmountable. I also fessed up to another regretful infidelity. I was always a very faithful partner until all of this and I hate that I became that way. Never. Again. Greater than and perhaps he is better off without me. And yet. The despair I feel having revealed this is causing me to question everything. Maybe he and I could have worked things out. I miss so much about my life with him. I can't tell if I am glamorizing the past or if I am genuine. I adore this girl and we could have a future together too. She very seriously wants one with me and has done so much to prove that to me. I have so much guilt and shame over hurting my husband, being back and forth, wanting to have my cake and eat it too. My coming out story feels like a tragedy. I didn't stop loving my husband, and I do still like men, although he was my favorite. But nothing turns me on like a woman too. And my GF understands my depression and doesn't make me feel bad for my emotions. This was something my husband struggled to deal with. I'm reflecting on all of this and don't know what to make of it. I am working to get myself in a position to afford therapy because I'm realizing so many toxic things about myself in these relationships that I am so ashamed of. I feel paralyzed by my past and my future, and my depression says the present moment is worthless, that I am worthless. I am a cheater and a liar now, all because I wanted to come out of the closet, but my repressed brain acted out so many deep dark desires to the detriment of my marriage. My guilt is eating me whole and I am having trouble moving forward in anything because of it. I know the errors of my ways and I'll be making up for this for a long time. My confusions manifested as abhorrent behavior. My husband never gave up on me, but I never showed back up for the relationship fully. And now I'm filled with regret. Top 5 comments. 1. I miss my ex, but I do not regret leaving him. We had said we'd remain friends. We didn't have kids, but we did share a dog. Now it's been 16 months since we divorced. He hasn't seen the dog at all, and we have texted some but not much. Last time I texted him was about 2 months ago. I haven't heard from him and it's frankly awkward to contact him, so I've stopped. I'm slowly accepting the fact that we aren't friends. It is hard, but I'll get through it. I could not stay married to him. It wasn't fair to either of us. I'm glad to be living as a gay woman. I have a great relationship with my girlfriend and I don't have the internal struggle in my head about still being married to a man yet knowing I'm gay. That's my experience. 2. To begin with, I think therapy is always valid. We all could do with a little help. Once you're able to find a therapist that you click with, sometimes it's first try, others not so much, they can help you tremendously, especially dealing with your feelings of guilt. Although you might still love your husband and cherish the good times you had together, you can't erase what has been done, and the relationship can never get back to what it was, because things have changed and neither of you are the same thing. It might have been similar, but not equal. Sometimes moving on is the best thing to do. Dealing with the guilt, talking to him and opening up about how bad you feel for the way things went and how supportive he was and that you're thankful for it. If you haven't done that yet, I imagine it'd be a good closure for the both of you and a strong part of letting go of the guilt and being able to move past this moment knowing you made a mistake, apologized, lived with the circumstances and came out a better person at the end. Guilt is important to help us realize when we do something wrong and need to learn, but once it stops you from going forward it becomes toxic and unproductive. I wish you the best of luck with everything. 3. I frequently miss him, but I don't regret leaving him. If I have feelings of regret, I find it's usually based in fear of what's ahead and craving comfort and stability. 4. So my story is a lot like yours. The last year of my marriage I was having an affair with a woman, then I met my wife. Once I met my wife there was not turning back and I left my husband. However, there was zero closure, and about 5 to 6 months after I left him he and I started texting to see if we could still be together. Meanwhile I'm still in a relationship with my wife and she found out. This led to several more months of her patiently taking back seat so I could figure out if I wanted to be with him or her. Ultimately I chose her. My ex was familiar and comfortable and closing that door was terrifying, but the fact of the matter is I am gay, technically bisexual but homoromantic now. All of this caused immense damage between my wife and I. Understandably, how could it not? It took a long time to sort it out in counseling, but now we are on the other side of it. So to answer your question, yes, I missed my husband, but I don't for a second regret leaving him at this point. That transition period was tough, but I am much happier and freer than I ever could have imagined. 5. I don't know what to say, but I wanted to let you know I am here, I am listening and I see you. Don't cheat on your graduation lifeline. Sue I, 19M, and my, now ex, GF, 18F, have been together for more than a year. We were in the same class during middle school and high school. Now, a 2-year friendship eventually evolved into a relationship, y'all know how it is. We were happily together, at least so I thought, since December 2019. I thought everything was great between us the whole time, although recently, about March, I noticed her becoming very distant and barely writing first, dry texting, etc. I asked her multiple times if everything is okay and gave her some space, but it continued for the next few months. I was naturally very upset as I've been through hell and back together with her when she was going through depression and a really hard time at the end of 2020. It suddenly felt like all this time was wasted and worth nothing. I, as a naive high schooler, truly believed that she was the one, it was serious after all. We matched perfectly together. We spent about 3 full months crying together at night when she was going through a rough time. We had similar plans for the future, similar interests, and it seemed we were meant for each other. My GF, let's call her Caroline, was studying to become a lawyer, so she was mostly into humanities subjects. I on the other hand am studying biochem, For medical school, I apologize if this is all confusing/different, we live in Europe. She was required to attend at least one science subject to graduate, physics/biology/chemistry/psychology. She always hated these subjects and just took them because they were necessary to graduate. She ended up picking chemistry as I was a natural and tutored 9 and 10 graders chemistry in my free time, and I always helped her with assignments etc. It started as helping her before exams and assignments so she could get a good pass grade, and after her rough time warped into me writing half of the assignments for her. In February she started to do everything with me again, though we had online the whole time. Anyways, enough backstory. After noticing Caroline started to get distant and she never properly answered my questions regarding her behavior, I wanted to see how far it would go. For 1 week I didn't invite her/call her/text her first. In a total of 1 week she called me 3 times. Twice to ask me about her assignment and once telling me how she felt insecure and bad. I'm not a dickhead, I helped her out with her school stuff and comforted her when she felt down. Me being the naive love is perfect lovebird, I chalked it up to her feeling depressed again but feeling embarrassed about it. I continued helping and comforting her for the next month until nothing changed and she never opened up. I was honestly doubting everything by then. Is it me? What am I doing wrong, etc. I tried everything I could. Eventually, I asked her friends if something happened, but they said she was the same as always towards them. I knew something was up, but I didn't know what it was yet. One day when she came over to my place, it was only the second time she did that in March. Usually she came at least twice a week. We were sitting in my room and talking while she was trying out Valorant. After she went to my kitchen to make herself something, I hear a notification from her phone. I'm usually not a snooper, but I had a quick look at her screen that lit up. I wouldn't be able to read the message or who it was anyway. It was a Discord notification. I was very surprised. I knew for a fact that she didn't have it a month ago. Plus she only plays Minecraft once in a while, she never uses Discord or anything. So the next morning I did some snooping and sure enough, I found a whole other Instagram account of hers where she branded herself to be an aesthetic gamer girl. Not that there is anything wrong with that. She had never told me anything about this. I couldn't find any of her friends following her on that account either. Sure enough, she had her Discord username in her bio. Curious and TBH asshole me decided it would be a good idea to create a throwaway account and try to text her to see what she was all about. Before you complain to me, I know I was an asshole here. After texting her on my new account, we talked for a bit until she became flirty. We played a few Bed Wars games together, once again on a throwaway account I bought for $1 Lamau. I kinda broke down and started questioning my sanity. I had been with her all this time and through so much shit, I couldn't believe she would do this to me. After the sadness came from the anger, I wanted to know how much she took it. I found it hard to believe that she would just casually flirt with guys like this. After setting up my first recon mission plan, I found out more about her until I found out about her supposed boyfriend. At that point I had a huge emotional breakdown and I felt I've wasted so much time helping someone who would betray me like this. From her stories I would later find out they were sleeping with each other for a whole month by now, about when her behavior started to change. At this point I started hatching my revenge plan. I know I would not let her off the hook this easily. I spent 2 weeks pulling all-nighters making sure I had all my work done till the end of the year, until graduation. I spent all my remaining time creating fake chemistry textbook pages so I could make my pro-revenge more believable. All of the information was wrong. I knew I had to give her a taste of her own medicine, betray her like she had me. For the remaining 2 months of the school year, fed her all this fake information and made sure she got all of her assignments wrong. I knew she wouldn't be able to tell anyone she was copying off me, as our high school had a very strict rule for plagiarism. As much as 3 small cheating attempts on small exams could get you expelled. So after letting the pot stew for those 2 painful, awful months, I let the shit hit the fan. As our teacher had to handle an outrageous amount of classes, she always checked our assignments late, often by 2 or 3 months all at once. I knew I could use this fact to my advantage. After she submitted her final assignments that were worth a huge percentage of our final graduation grade, I told her I knew about her shenanigans had been still ongoing for 3 entire months by now. I told her how she hurt me and how it will come back to haunt her. I made sure of that. She mostly brushed me off and acted as if I were the villain, as I couldn't just leave her and that she was only friends with that guy. Although I told her something was going to happen, I never told her what it would be. Trust me, she never saw it coming. 1 week later, the end of year results rolled around. When we received our final grades, I was over the moon as I passed with flying colors. On the other hand, her not so much. Due to her final assignments and all quarter 4 work equaling to an F, she called me crying and asked for help. She told me she wouldn't be able to graduate if she wouldn't receive at least a passing grade for this year. She told me our teacher gave her a final chance after telling her how disappointed she was. Caroline has 2 more months at school with extra one-on-one online lessons with our saint teacher. Honestly, props go out to our teacher for giving her another chance. TBH, I felt really bad for her and her situation, knowing very well if she didn't work her ass off in these 2 months, in a subject she hated, she would have to repeat the last year, without someone constantly helping her with her chem. That compassion quickly went away and I told her I would help her, but only if she apologized and paid me my regular tutoring fees. Caroline went full-on ballistic after that and screamed at me, how I could do this to her. I hung up and she called me a few seconds after, apologizing and agreeing to pay me for my help. She now has 2 months of intense memorizing with her ex if she wants to graduate. Edit. Now she has to study for those 2 months, and when the regular end of the school year comes she has to complete a series of exams, think 4 to 8, covering the most important topics from this year. If she passes all of them she will pass chemistry. Update, August 6, 2021 June, wow, I really didn't expect post to blow up whatsoever. Thanks y'all Redditors for your support and contributions. Special mentions go out to our Redditor and Ask Goblin for featuring my stories in their YouTube videos. After 4 weeks of preparing, Caroline has actually learned a lot. She's even broken off contact with that guy, apologized and taken me out to dinner a few times to show her gratitude for still helping her. I hope she was actually able to realize what mistakes she committed in the past and won't do the same again. She was able to take her first exam today in the morning and is quite confident about it. Her next 5 will be spread along the next 2 final weeks. She will find out if this extra work is enough latest on the 23rd of June. I keep you guys update on further details and events that are relevant to this story. Once again, thank you all for your support. Update, July 29, 2021 July. So firstly, I apologize to all of you for this late update, but I was quite busy with collage applications, moving etc. It's been a long way for Caroline, but she's made it and completed all criteria required to graduate. She's also gotten into quite a good university and she's learned a lot, not just chemistry, but she's actually gotten a much better work ethic and motivation to do stuff she doesn't enjoy. In the meantime, I've moved on and am with someone new. We're still friends but set clear boundaries as to not repeat history once again. I'm very happy the way things are as I've gotten into my first choice medical collage. I've already moved out about 2 weeks ago and I'm living in the same city as before, because it's a major European city and has great universities. Caroline's collage is located in a different country and she's moving tomorrow. We've met today to say goodbye, but we plan to keep in contact, as mentioned before, only as friends. Top 5 comments. 1. I hope you got paid ahead of time and not collecting payment at the end of the tutoring month. 2. I guess your relationship just didn't have the right chemistry. 3. At least you didn't ruin her life, just made her work harder. 4. I would not help her. 5. Damn. The fact that this teacher didn't just fail her is astounding. At least you proved that bitch to never wrong you like that though.